Good afternoon. I just been troubled with the concern so much about how long and how many papers were taken. My concern is this: how did they get out of the archive? And there's no record of them signing out to anybody, and there seems to be no record how much we got in the archive. How can you run a business like that, especially when the security of the United States is rests upon that? We having control of those type of papers and information. How could they let that go by?
Yeah.
Somebody,
first of all,
only a few people should know how many, the number of papers that are there, what went out, when it went out, who they signed it out to, and when they brought it back.
It's not like it's library books, Edgar. The National Archives only hold a small percentage of all the classified documents that are floating around. Every agency has classified documents flying around the place. The president's daily brief, for example, which is given to the president, and in many cases brought to his home if he's working from home, is a classified document. I don't know. We're gonna find out how Joe Biden. Ultimately, we will find out how these documents ended up in Joe Biden's home. My guess is that if you went to any former president's home or went through any former president's papers, and probably retrospectively, we could do this with the papers of former presidents that have been turned over to the archives for libraries, that all of them have had some documents. That is a huge different thing, a completely different thing from what Donald Trump did. What Donald Trump did is he collected thousands of, hundreds anyway that we know of, hundreds of classified documents as souvenirs or for blackmail or to sell. He took them from the White House knowingly, intentionally. When the National Archives discovered that he had some of them, they knew specifically some of the documents he had. They asked for them back, and he said no, he wouldn't give them back. Then they said, we know you have them, and he lied to them about that. Then his lawyers, finally, his lawyers said, okay, we'll look for them, and they came up with a handful of documents and said, this is all, and they signed a sworn affidavit saying this is it. They lied. Then a judge determined that a crime had been committed by Donald Trump doing this and signed a search warrant to search Donald Trump's property, and they found a whole nother boatload of documents. And then Trump started lying about how he had declassified them. At every level, Trump was lying, stealing, and frankly committing crimes. Joe Biden, on the other hand, discovered that, or his lawyers discovered that there were a couple of classified documents in his desk or in his home, and said, holy crap, these shouldn't be here, and immediately called the National Archives and said, come and get them. And then when they discovered that there were a few more in his home that nobody knew about or that he didn't know about, he said, hey, FBI, you guys come on in and do a search, please. See what you can find. I want to clear this up. That is night and day. It is a completely different circumstance, Edgar.